Hey guys, so I'm gonna be reacting now to everything wrong with Captain America Civil War. Yeah! I just watched Endgame, the one with Endgame and then Justice League, and this fucker's biased as fuck towards the MCU, or towards DC, and so I fully expect this be completely fucking... I think this version, like Captain America Civil War, he'll point out some of the flaws, but, you know, he'll fucking be more, like, about it. So I don't expect him to shit on the MCU in general. I just think he'll just, this is a good movie, but it's flawed. So let's just get started.
Look, you can show me an icy tundra if you want,
no
but you've got to tell me what year it is.
Credits,
1991! Why do they have to wipe Bucky at this
like
point?
that.
Wasn't he wiped before he went into the cryosleep? Also, this book that supposedly controls the Winter Soldier is introduced here, but wasn't referenced in Winter Soldier at all. And Zemo found it buried in some asshole's wall in Cleveland, so how did they control him in the last movie? 20 seconds of interrupting Marvel logo. Why the hell would you rob police stations? I know there may be some extra weapons sitting around in the evidence room, but there's no way there would be enough there to make it worth it for supervillainy. Also, this article is the newspaper version of clickbait, as the article underneath it is some sort of vague, repetitious nonsense that's probably trying to sell Viagra. The other barrier on the left was still standing, and the truck was blocking the whole right lane, but seconds later, these assholes somehow drive straight through a wide-open entrance. Meet Crossbones! He'll be your expendable villain plot device for the next 7 minutes. I know Cap is impervious to a lot of stuff, but this gas is apparently pretty lethal if it incapacitated this dude immediately, and Cap's unaffected. He's also been developing an immunity to iocane powder. That's badass, but tell me, what kind of bullshit is this? How can a shield of this power bounce off floors and walls instead of just destroying them? And how did Cap figure out the geometry of that shot? I also agree this is cool, but why didn't he do something like this at the very beginning? Scarlet Witch helpfully throws the gas into the atmosphere, where it can affect many more people in Lagos. Black Widow can throw one of those taser things faster than this asshole can fire a bullet. Welcome back, 500 edits per fight editing. How's Scarlet's stunt double doing? Great, just great. Look, I have other people to talk to, but we'll have a beer later, alright? I know she's a badass, but come on. Black Widow just took out 8 heavily armed bad guys. Did the Avengers not have a drug testing protocol in place? What were these assholes doing this entire fight? Our comrades are getting their asses kicked, but we see no reason to step out of this tank and fire bullets at anybody due to our conscientious objections. She survives this. Oh good, another villain who thinks he can win a punching contest with Captain America. After Cap inevitably wins, I'm sure no one else will try this during the rest of this movie.
His name is Red Wing.
I'm still not thinking it.
He's cute. Go ahead, pet him.
Ha ha ha. While you guys are cracking wise, has anyone checked on Cap? Olsen Ex Machina. Welcome to comic book movie number 2 of the year, where heroes get all guilty about the innocent lives they kill during their missions.
So, are they referencing BvS? I'm not sure which one they did first. The BvS and Civil War came out at the same time, so I'm assuming this is a reference to BvS.
Only took 13 movies.
Be nice, dear. He's been studying abroad.
Really? Which broad?
Roger Starkling. Less than 0 CGI Robert Downey Jr.
Plus $611 million for my little therapeutic experiment.
It appears that Tony is merely being honored at MIT, but he decided to show the audience his virtual reality memory, which just so happens to be important to the plot of this movie. Also, he could tell these students he funded their dumb projects. Is this a hologram teleprompter? Do you mean all the students saw what Tony was going to say, albeit backwards, before he had a chance to say it?
I am so sorry about the teleprompter. I didn't know Miss Potts had canceled.
Even if they didn't know about Pepper canceling before the talk began, it was the last line of the speech, so they totally had time to remove the unnecessary reference to a character we won't be seeing.
Are you going up?
I'm right where I want to be.
Alfre Woodard somehow knew Tony would be not only exiting the stage this way, but also that he would bypass the bathroom and go straight for the elevator. Miriam wastes State Department tax dollars by leaving work, driving to MIT, and briefly f***ing with Iron Man.
Victory at the expense of the innocent is no victory at all.
Damn, it sure got all Dawn of Justice-y up in here.
They're being very
Almost
specific.
as if, Civil War ripped off Dawn of Justice. Seeing as how, fucking, they completely changed everything about fucking Civil War to, compete against BvS, so yeah. Are they
Unfortunately, her accent is not.
Are they gonna actually fucking call it out as being a ripoff, or are they just gonna fucking act like this is just, it's better?
Mumlo said Bucky, and all of a sudden I was a 16-year-old kid again in Brooklyn.
You could say that the word Bucky is almost Captain America's kryptonite, or Martha.
Viz, we talked about this.
Peeping Vision. No? Vision Tom?
Captain Rogers wished to know when Mr. Stark was arriving.
So I came to Wanda's room right away.
The world owes the Avengers an unpayable debt.
That's it. He should stop right there. There's nothing else that needs to be discussed. Not Sokovia or Lagos or even Manhattan. They saved the universe multiple times.
How about dangerous?
As in Batman v Superman, the government comes in and explains that they're scared of superheroes now because of what they can do. And what's the difference between the two movies again? One's brighter and tells a few more jokes and doesn't suck? I mean, what's the difference?
So he's already fucking bitching about BvS, and saying it fucking sucks. What's funny is that BvS actually is, a continuation of Man of Steel, which actually, shows exactly why in Man of Steel that people react BvS the way they do, and yet, as they fucking say in this video, it took 13 movies for them to finally give a shit about the consequences of their actions, feeling guilty about some of the people they might have killed.
What would you call a group of U.S.-based, enhanced individuals who routinely ignore sovereign borders and seem unconcerned about what they leave behind?
The Justice League? Ryan Lochte? Also, the entire last part of the Battle of Sokovia was the Avengers saving as many individuals as possible. Discount Quicksilver even died for a kid. Does nobody want to mention this?
Tell me, Captain, do you know where Thor and Banner are right now?
Of course he doesn't. If he did, this would be an Avengers movie, and it's totally not an Avengers movie.
3 days from now, the UN meets in Vienna to ratify the Accords.
The Sokovia Accords were approved by 117 countries, and somehow the Avengers didn't get the news until 3 days before the ratification.
And if we come to a decision you don't like?
Then you retire.
Apparently Ross thinks he's Thanos, considering he makes this statement as if he would have any say in the matter. Also, let's say the UN decides they need the Avengers for something. How does that prevent the Avengers from accidentally killing people? Hey guys, we need you, but let's try extra hard not to kill innocent people this time. Once again, I'm happy they didn't have to put the state or country that Cleveland's in. But do they have to use the largest f***ing font ever?
No cops.
This guy, who's definitely afraid of anybody who might come by wanting to steal the information he has, willingly opens his door to this guy without a gun and a story that smells of immediate and total bullshit. I mean, can't he just say that wasn't his car outside? Zemo's power must be X-ray vision, considering he found the book in an innocuous wall.
Hail, Hydra.
But the box of water stops before his nose and mouth, and the water is already spilling out of the box, so Zemo's plan is to wash that evil right out of his hair?
Since Mr. Stark announced himself as Iron Man, the number of known enhanced persons has grown exponentially. During the same period, the number of potentially world-ending events has risen at a commensurate rate.
But thinking about the conflicts that arose in the Marvel Cinematic Universe since Tony announced he was Iron Man, Thor came to Earth because of some bullshit that happened on his own planet, which brought Loki and some dickhead robot monster thing with it. The Avengers movie happened because of the stuff that happened in Thor. Iron Man 2 is because some dude wanted revenge against Tony. In Thor 2, the Dark World, something realm, something dark elves. Iron Man 3 happens because another asshole wanted revenge on Tony. The Winter Soldier happens because Hydra is still around, and Avengers 2 happens because Tony created Ultron, and that's the end of that argument.
Oversight is not an idea that can be dismissed out of hand.
Okay, but you just mentioned that the existence of the Avengers invites conflict. How would that change with any administrative oversight? Tony takes out his phone and lays it in a fruit basket so that it can play hologram footage of somebody's dead son. Gee, it sounds kind of stupid when you say it out loud.
Aren't you the same woman who told the government to kiss her ass a few years ago?
I'm reading the terrain.
First off, Falcon would be amazing at CinemaSins. Second off, this veers so off character from Romanoff that I can't stop saying off.
I just knew her as Aunt Peggy. It was a lot to live up to, which is why I never told anyone we were related.
Until now, when the plot demands it and I'm the featured speaker for her eulogy.
Well, what are you doing here?
I didn't want you to be alone.
Also, I needed to give you and the audience some exposition and set the stage for the next scene. I knew you'd be here well after the funeral and didn't bother to call or text first. Wait, they just found this bomb after the van had been parked right across the street from the meeting? Don't they check that stuff before it gets to a horribly strategic location? He heroically jumps into the blast, but is one of the only ones to survive this. Also, who would have thought there would be a cataclysmic event during a gathering of world leaders? Well, if you hadn't seen Homeland, or Designated Survivor, or White House Down, Independence Day, Batman v Superman, or King Ralph. This burgeoning relationship, when you boil it down, is like Edward and Bella in Twilight.
Steve, something you gotta see.
You need to come take a look at this cock-blocking cliche.
At least 12 are dead.
12? Sure, there's probably going to be more deaths later because that's the way the news works, but that explosion blew up a whole city block. And I can't believe that when he told everyone to get down, that somehow saved a lot of people.
Most of it's noise, except for this.
Thank God Sharon is Peggy's niece and was here for the funeral and is in love with Steve Rogers, so she can pass him important information illegally. Also, why did they think he could set off a bomb in Vienna and make it back home in time to arrest him? That's a 12-hour drive, and everything else requires a well-known fugitive to go through airports or train stations, which I'm not buying, unless it's the Bucky identity. If Bucky's face is so well-known that the news can casually refer to him as the Winter Soldier, and everyone knows what that means, then how can he walk around without getting a disguise and without getting noticed? If he's been hiding out here for the last couple of years, more like Bucky rest, am I right? Does anyone want to shoot this guy anywhere but his obviously bulletproof hand? That's right, it took 4 cuts for that one badass takedown. Welcome to action movies in 2016.
I
The
did
shooter from the
notice that
UN
they
task
don't
force
address
just
the
fires with
Bucky
impunity
line
without seeing there's another
this
person there.
movie.
It's almost like they'll accept some collateral damage for the good of the overall
the
mission.
jerk off
Luckily,
to
everyone
the
can just
Martha
blindly
line,
jump down
won't
onto
they?
this busy road without getting plowed into. However implausible this sequence is, I'm going to remove a sin for Black Panther being a badass. War Machine took so long to get here, they considered replacing him with Terrence Howard. We now take you to Vision and Scarlet Witch, the most powerful characters in this movie, flirting over some goddamn soup.
And what do you want?
For people to see you. As I do.
So, is this getting serious? If so, what's that bedroom gonna look like? Hang on, Google Maps
So
tells
he
me it's
talks about
18
them
fucking
being the
hours
two
from
power
Bucharest to
beings
Berlin.
in the
There isn't a
universe, so
task
they're
force
gonna
office in
address why
Bucharest or
exactly
Belgrade
they
or
don't
anywhere
use those
nearby.
powers
Even
to
Vienna's closer.
So you like
address the
cats?
situation.
You're just now asking this. Even if they flew here, this banter should have happened long ago.
Your suit. Vibranium?
The Black Panther has been the protector of Wakanda for generations, a mantle passed from warrior to warrior.
If you ask about the Panther suit, you'll get some heavy Wakandan exposition. Hello everyone, I'm Everett K. Ross from the Black Panther series of comics. I am not to be confused with Thaddeus Ross, the guy from Incredible Hulk, who also makes an appearance in this movie.
Why would the task force release this photo to begin with?
Seems like a normal thing that happens every time something like this happens, but Steve is suspicious of it. Also, you had an 18-hour trip in a van to think about this. I can understand you being suspicious, but isn't that your nature since Winter Soldier? Aren't you like Sherlock Holmes now, even though that's Tony's job? Hey dude, there are ways not to listen to this shit, right? Like talking? You've had a couple years to create a defense against this. Cap and Sam must have stopped off for Starbucks en route to the holding room so that Bucky had enough time to provide the mission report to Zemo and kill all these government agents. Jesus, this fight is like trying to watch people play Marvel vs. Capcom and trying to figure out what the f is happening. Okay, if we have to remove 3 sins for this, I guess we will. Sin Counter will not be happy. Government agents and the rest of the Avengers took their union-mandated smoke break during the whole escape chopper crash scene.
Because I'm not the only Winter Soldier.
Remember, Bucky's only the Winter Soldier because Zola remembered he got thrown off the train in the first movie and went backpacking in the mountains to pick him up later for some dumbass reason. What's so special about Bucky that they needed to give him the serum in the first place? Then they kidnapped a whole bunch of people in 1991 and gave them the serum. And doesn't Hydra know the ingredients of this cocktail? They had access to Zola for years. I guess they didn't because Bucky had to kill Tony's parents for it and set up this fight at the end.
They can take a whole country down in one night and you never see them coming.
Why haven't they then? I know in Winter Soldier, Zola said something about blah blah, take away freedom, blah blah, people resist, but if you have 30 super soldiers all created before the Avengers existed, then why not use them to do that very thing?
Who knows if the Accords will let them help?
But they're not ratified yet, remember? Bomb?
72 hours. Guaranteed.
36 hours.
Arbitrary timeline is arbitrary.
That's you, right?
I must know this because somewhere in this YouTube video you take off your mask 100 times, following the existing movie's patterns.
And I've had these powers for 6 months.
Peter's only had his Spidey powers for 6 months, but Tony's had time to scout him, study the strength of his webbing, and build a suit for him.
It's ironic considering how I watched Justice League and he bitches about, Justice League where they actually show us the photos of the Justice League showing that Lex Luthor was able to fucking ferret out these characters, these metahumans, which explains how Batman would know about them and go after them. But this
You can't overpower me.
I know I can't, but she can.
Why did she change her mind? She went from I've caused enough problems and I think I'm in love with Vision to screw it in 30 seconds. All because Hawkeye told her to stop moping? Wait, did Wanda just send Vision to hell?
Come on. We got one more stop.
Why does Hawkeye pick Cap's side? Just because Quicksilver saved him in Age of Ultron? You can't assume he'd go against the other Avengers just to give Wanda a ride.
Move, or you will be moved.
Oh, so they're actually pointing out how fucking why would someone choose this fucking side is kind of ridiculous. It's just based on random shit.
As entertaining as that would be.
It wouldn't. There'd be 1,767 cuts just for them to end up being friends anyway.
So if you come with us, you're a wanted man. Yeah, well, what else is new?
So much for spending time with your daughter, which was the whole reason you wanted to be a good guy in your own movie. Cap and Tony take an hour and a half to start Civil Warring.
Your old war buddy killed innocent people yesterday.
And there are 5 more super soldiers just like him.
But what's not important to tell you at this moment is that Bucky had no control over his actions, because there's a complicated series of passwords that evil people programmed him with, and oh come on, these webs are so strong that Cap himself can't get free of them, but Hawkeye's arrows are good enough. Ant-Man chooses to attack Spider-Man first, because arthropods, I guess?
You have a metal arm? That is awesome, dude!
Thank God they got a great actor. Got Spidey just right, even if he wasn't
Oh
adult.
yeah, annoying as shit.
You know, thank God Iron Man decided to blast that arrow out of the air. There's no telling what kind of property damage that would have done. Don't worry, no one will be killed in the beautiful action centerpiece of this movie, so sit back and enjoy the other lack of stakes. Because we only know Steve and Tony's strong feelings on the Sokovia Accords, the other combatants in this melee start to run together. I've got to remember Natasha's on Tony's side because reasons. Rhodey and Vision are on Tony's side because they're boring. Black Panther's simply on the anti-Winter Soldier side. Spidey's in it for the money, just like the studios involved. Ant-Man and Hawkeye are on Steve's side, because still trying to figure that out. Wanda's on Steve's side because of peer pressure, but I generally forget every bit of that after every 10 seconds of random hero and hero violence.
I didn't kill your father.
Then why did you run?
What kind of question is that? He was running because you were chasing him in a scary catsuit. Doesn't it feel like Scarlet Witch could just end this whole battle right now? You know, because she's the one who practices
It's
real
almost as
magic.
if she's overpowered as shit, but you
Where you
bitched
from?
about Superman being overrated
Does
and
Brooklyn have
overpowered.
that kind of hard reputation anymore? I mean, isn't Brooklyn one of the most gentrifyingest places in the world right now? I mean, maybe because Cap comes from old school Brooklyn, he still wears that like a badge, but I for one can't wait to decorate my Bed-Stuy brownstone with French coffee shop posters and my 3 bicycles.
I'll take Vision, you get to the jet.
By the way, Tony's side could stop this whole thing by simply destroying the jet or disabling it, but nobody's gonna do that.
All right, Sam, what's the play?
We need a diversion.
The Avengers always have these communication devices built into their uniforms, but if half of them are using them, shouldn't the other half be able to hear the same conversation? Did they meet earlier and determine which side uses which frequency?
This isn't the real fight, Steve.
It's just the title of the movie is all. Paul Rudd is such a goddamn national treasure and a welcome bit of levity in this movie that I'm removing a sin for his awesomeness. Vision finally decides to start visioning. Also, seriously, did this movie just have no clue how to use this character? All he's done is espouse random wisdom, cook, and wear some J. Crew.
You're not gonna stop.
What the hell has she been doing this whole time? She got knocked out of the battle earlier, so then she decided to hang out by the jet. She was going to be the last defense against Captain Freaking America.
Heartbeat detected.
Why don't we just call this movie Civil Unrest, or Domestic Disturbance 2, the one without Vince Vaughn? What's so war about this civil anyway?
Sorry.
Just like my mom said, it's all fun and games until someone gets knocked out of the sky by an infinity stone and breaks their back.
Where police also found a wig and facial prosthesis approximating the appearance of one James Buchanan Barnes.
Zemo seriously found ways to do amazing things over 1 year's time. He's not only great with computers and decrypting classified documents, but also making a mask of Barnes that fools facial recognition software.
Get this to Ross.
Which one? Also, if he's sending it to Ross, why can't Tony also send the information to Black Panther, whom he knows is still hunting Bucky? Does this facility still have power?
Start facial scanning for this Zemo guy.
You seriously think I'm gonna listen to you after that fiasco in Leipzig? You're lucky you're not in one of these cells.
High-ranking government official thinks he's in a Transformers movie and ignores obvious evidence of an international catastrophe.
Did he give you anything on Rogers?
No, told me to go to hell.
Ross, who doesn't trust Stark when it comes to Zemo, suddenly trusts Stark in this situation and doesn't have him followed. Oh, how lucky! Black Panther just happens to be 5 seconds behind Iron Man, even though he was secretly following Cap and Bucky the whole time.
What was her name again? Dolores. You called her Doc.
Steve remembers the name of some random redhead Bucky tried to impress more than 70 years ago. Okay, Cap and Bucky know the exact coordinates.
Yeah. Isn't he fucking, he was stuck in ice for, what is it, 50 years? So wouldn't the memories of him and Bucky be just as fresh as you know, if it happened like yesterday or not too long ago, you act like, well, 70 years. Well, yeah, 70 years, which good chunk of it he was stuck in ice, you know, pretty much in like a coma.
And they have a serious head start. Tony had to take Rhodey to the hospital, chat with ScarJo, ride out to the wavy prison, talk to Papa Doc to get the location, then fly all the way to goddamn Siberia. But they arrived at roughly the same time.
I know that road.
You know that road? What about that date? Maybe that's more recognizable. Yep, just incredible footage on a tree-lined country road. Cam 3, as it turns out. Cams everywhere in the area. You never knew when Bigfoot might be around. And the footage was saved. Even though we're seeing this in full color, the movie's trying to say Tony can see this same angle in footage too, driving home the drama of his mother getting strangled. But really, all he'd be able to see is Bucky standing next to the car, doing something, probably bad. Presumably, this means he shot the camera, but it was conveniently impervious.
He's probably going to mention the Martha scene and the fact that his mother's name is Martha, when in fact Martha's, you know, the fact that both their mother's name with Martha is not far-fetched, considering they were pretty much grew up in the same era, you know, the decade, which Martha was a popular name, and the fact that Superman knew exactly who Bruce was, so it wouldn't be far-fetched to believe that he knew his mother's name was Martha, and that using his name Martha might snap him out of it.
Considering we have this footage. Also, suddenly this movie is saying there was a facility nearby that could capture security footage. First off, that's terribly convenient. But second off, terrible nonsense, because there was no such place nearby in the beginning of the movie. Now Tony gets mad, even though he knows for a fact that Bucky had no control over his actions. Or is this movie saying he didn't? I find that hard to believe. And even though he just learned somebody...
Yeah, that's exactly my point. He fucking knows that the villain is trying to get him to attack Bucky, and that Bucky was brainwashed, and this fucker who literally created a machine that, you know, destroyed, almost took over the world. You know, he's gonna get all judgmental as shit.
Frame Bucky 10 minutes ago, he gets blinded with anger. This conflict is as manufactured as it gets.
Did you know? Yes.
To be fair, the only reason he knows is because Zola showed him what Hydra did to people who worked for S.H.I.E.L.D. in that bunker scene in The Winter Soldier. But then right after that, Hydra fired missiles into the building, and he had to make a miraculous escape, so it might have slipped his mind. I still can't believe this is the reason they're going to fight, though. Also, when would he tell Tony about this? While they were just hanging out? Hey man, I know we're at a strip club and stuff, but Bucky killed your parents.
This is all he wanted, to see them rip each other apart.
Yep, and just think, he could have done this by simply sending the tape to Tony with a little post-it note that read, "Play me."
We're miles from harm. When the dust cleared, it took me 2 days until I found their bodies.
But if they were together, how did Zemo survive?
If I could get them to kill each other.
Let's talk about Zemo's plan. The entire thing relies on Scarlet Witch doing something incredibly stupid during the Crossbones fight in Lagos. Without that, there would be no Sokovia Accords, which Zemo had no idea would happen when he started planning his revenge, and yet is a huge part of the plan in this movie. Then he plots to bomb the UN, frame Bucky, and somehow, someway, he knows Steve and Tony will hate each other over it, and he also knows Tony will figure out about the dead psychiatrist at the perfect time, learn the Siberia location, and show up at the same time as Cap and Bucky. He knows Steve won't tell Tony what he knows, then he'll lose all control, and they'll fight each other in this building. I mean, how did Zemo know all this? Just by poring over Natasha's WikiLeaks?
Analyze his fight pattern.
Scanning!
Oh, sure, you can analyze his fight pattern, but your targeting system a minute ago was totally messed up. Your shit does whatever this movie needs, doesn't it? Again, he's not gonna die. What a pussy this movie is.
All that time, all that
So
effort.
he says he's not gonna die and calls him a pussy for not killing him off. See if that
To see it
continues
fail
on.
so spectacularly.
Consistent.
Did it?
Well, pretty much, yeah. I mean, Bucky lost an arm, but generally Cap and Tony are good to go for Infinity War. Unless they're saying there's more to Zemo's plan, like he's Joker in The Dark Knight, and he needed to be captured. More proof that the filmmakers lost sight of their vision. Stan Lee finally makes an appearance in one of these Marvel movies. Geez, it only took 13 tries, but they found a way to pay tribute to him. Whew.
I guess I thought by not telling you about your parents, I was sparing you. But I can see now that I was really sparing myself.
From f***ing what? Also, the "I didn't tell you so that I could protect you" cliche once again. Aren't you glad that you waited 10 minutes to see this thing and you have no clue what it is? Guess I'm gonna have to go research this shit now. Thanks, Obama.
So 128 cents.
What's so civil about war anyway?
Okay, so once again pointing out some of the problems I had with Civil War. The fact that they never overall shit on the MCU, and yet they make reference to BvS and how similar they are, and yet don't fucking criticize the Civil War at all for those similarities. And once again, every time they kind of hint at BvS, they shit on BvS. So, yeah, I know this. I know that they're gonna completely fuck over BvS. Ironic considering how BvS is far more consistent than this movie, than Civil War. You know they're gonna bitch on some of the things that, even though it's addressed in Civil or in Man of Steel, they're just gonna completely fucking bitch about it in BvS, because it's not that it's badly done, it's just not what they wanted. Yeah, they're gonna, they remove sins multiple times based on, badass moments or cool moments, and I don't think they're gonna do that in BvS. Even with Wonder Woman, they're probably not gonna remove a sin. I mean, this movie does point out the flaws of the MCU, but I expect them to completely bitch about, BvS and pretty much claim that these flaws make it a bad movie, whereas with this, they don't say that. So I fully expect them to be far more harsher and just completely rip BvS apart. That's what I'm expecting. So yeah, let's react now to the BvS, everything wrong with Batman v Superman.
DC Comics.
There was a time.
They literally fucking bitch about DC Comics yet again. Can't help but laugh because there's actually another channel that parodies, CinemaSins, and they do one for just Zack Snyder's Justice League. And one of the things that they do was the DC Comics, and they put a sin up for that, so they know exactly. This person does it so often that they know that they're, in Zack Snyder's Justice League, they're gonna give a sin to DC Comics.
I'm above.
Let me ask everyone a question. If every screenwriter grows up being told not to put narration in their movie unless it enhances the story, then why does every screenwriter put narration that doesn't enhance the story into their screenplays? For the third time in 3 Batman.
So how does this not enhance the screenplay? He's literally you're kind of getting the kind of mindset of Batman in this movie already.
And franchises, we get the dead parent origin story. I guess they did try to warn us at the beginning. Also,
so we get the parents' origin story when that's the most critical part of this movie. But the fact is, the interesting thing is that BvS actually does an opening credit, and it's like, I don't know, maybe like a minute total, and yet they still bitch. I fully believe that if they actually not mentioned it at all in this movie, he'd bitch because they have mentioned it.
This is the type of theater that plays the 1940 film The Mark of Zorro, but also coming soon, because this is 1981 after all, Excalibur. Zach, the public has already seen Bruce Wayne's parents' death several times. Yes, but have they seen it in slow motion?
So it's funny because this is the most emotional death scene that we get. It's just heartbreaking. And this death scene sets up for a critical moment later on in the movie. So it's not just there to be there. It's an important part of the movie.
Bruce falls into a hole that would kill most people, and he's not Batman yet, and yippee, the Batcave! If he wanted to steal the pearls, why'd he intentionally f*** up the necklace by pulling this gun bull? Now he'll have to pick them out of the rich people blood. Over goddamn use of slow goddamn motion. No.
Martha.
Remember.
So the kid screams and he just fucking says no and gives it to him.
For this, it will become inexplicably and infuriatingly important later.
So he admits that this scene has importance and it's important later in the film, but he still bitches about it and gives it to Sin. This guy's so fucking infuriating.
Fucking what? Also, confidence building bat tornado.
A beautiful lie.
Ben Affleck describes this movie in one.
So they actually mention that this is supposed to be a dream. This is a dream. So him rising, it's a dream, and I guess that, they ignore that part.
Sentence. Yep, no way the film could have started here. We definitely needed to rehash his parents' death in order to understand this. Totally. In the middle of all the...
This is Batman v Superman. I mean, honestly, this is more of a Superman movie or Batman movie than it is Superman movie, because this kind of sets up the mindset for Batman and why exactly he reacts the way that he does to Superman.
This bull. Bruce really thought it was a good idea to take a private helicopter into Metropolis for some reason. Here's Bruce Wayne landing.
My fucking god, he takes it to Metropolis so that he can fucking get to where Superman's destroying shit. He's not like, well, taking a joyride. No, he's taking his private helicopter to Metropolis so that he can fucking go where Superman and Zod are fighting.
In Metropolis and immediately getting into his private vehicle, a Jeep fucking Renegade, the very definition of a common middle-class vehicle. I see one of these things at every goddamn stoplight. Bruce Wayne would be driving a Tesla, or at the very least a BMW, but not
$50. He bitches about the expensive car that Bruce drives in, you know, the Snyder Cut. I'm just gonna say Snyder Cut from now on, because I saying Zack Snyder's Justice League is just too fucking time consuming.
a goddamn Jeep. Yes, this sequence of Bruce experiencing the carnage of Man of Steel's climax is interesting. It's also revisionist history by the man who took too personally the criticism that Man of Steel killed too many innocent people.
Okay, so he bitches that Zack actually, you know, God, this fucking bullshit. So, let's go back. They're actually fucking addressing the casualties in BvS. But now it's a bad thing because he actually acknowledges it. Instead of thinking about, well, maybe Superman when fighting Zod, this was Superman. He's just trying to stop this godly, ungodly powerful being from destroying the entire Earth. And so being crashed through like buildings might be a little bit less he might be a little bit less concerned about destroying some buildings than trying to stop this super powerful being. But we have Bruce. We're actually seeing him from the human perspective. He's human. He's on the ground. He sees all this destruction, this ungodly destruction, which would influence his view of Superman. And we actually see Superman. His view also parallels other humans' views in the movies. They hate Superman. They're scared of him because of what he can do. So this is literally Batman in his point of view. He's literally the human's point of view of Superman and what it's like for this super powerful being to fight in this city. It's just fucking insane that they're literally complaining about it.
So, whatever mobile network these people are using is apparently alien attack proof, and here I lose my signal when I'm under an umbrella.
I want you to get everyone.
Well, you're literally complaining because, they still have cell service. They're crashing into fucking buildings. They're not taking out cell towers. Or,
Going out of the building right now.
Jack decides just now is the appropriate time to evacuate. Makes you think he has to ask Bruce's approval to go to...
What's funny is that during 9/11, people actually stayed in the towers because they were told to stay in the towers. So, no doubt, this person was told to stay there. I don't know if Bruce told him, but yeah. They stayed in the towers and they ended up dying because the towers collapsed. And we see this, the building ends up being destroyed. So.
To the bathroom. Bruce Wayne alone running into the fray while everyone else panics? Yeah, even in a movie this shitty, I'm duty-bound to remove sins for something so badass.
Oh, wow. He actually removes sins. This also shows how brave Batman is and how much he cares about people, actually.
Do you think? Also, good f***ing eyesight to spot Mr. Wayne at that distance in a dust cloud. This guy's trapped underneath one single girder. Like, a whole building just fell, and apparently the only rubble is a lot of dust and a couple girders. In the middle of a dust cloud, from ground level and without any visual enhancement gear on, how the hell can Bruce clearly see these two fighting? He barely saw the girl right next to him. Little girl who lost her mother stands here waiting for Bruce Wayne hugs, because she knows how close the Wayne logo sign is and how cool a shot it'll make. Hans Zimmer's finger gets stuck on the Dom button. The somewhere is implied by simply saying it's the Indian Ocean. All it takes to get the most precious element on Earth is a couple freedivers with a motorboat and a dream. Is it ever explained how this Kryptonian vessel full of kryptonite crash-landed in the
Well, considering how in Man of Steel, they actually fucking on two opposite ends of the Earth, so when it's destroyed, because one of it's in Metropolis and the other one was in the ocean, so obviously it was in the Indian Ocean when it was fucking destroyed. So it's not too far-fetched to believe that people would assume that's in the Indian Ocean, since that was where the other machine was.
Indian fucking Ocean. Also, kryptonite, in case you confused it with Naomi Judd. Oh hey, it's Jimmy Olsen, the grounding moral center in this universe of superhero pretense. Man, I really hope he gets a lot of screen time. Somehow.
It's funny because he mentions Jimmy Olsen as if Jimmy Olsen was such a fucking critical character in the DC comics. No, he was more of a fucking comic relief. You know, you don't act like fucking he was critical to Superman's story. He wasn't. He was more just, you know, this goofy reporter or photographer, because I believe he's more known for photographer, despite the fact that he wasn't originally a photographer. But yeah, the fact that he's bitching about that or giving a shit about, it's amazing the amount of people are now give a damn about Jimmy Olsen because he died.
How they're going to be able to blame Superman for all these headshots, because if there's anything Superman needs.
He actually addressed that later because they end up fucking burning the bodies, making it look like Superman used his heat vision to kill these people, when obviously they're just destroying evidence.
It's a gun. Superman shows up out of nowhere, because I guess he can sense when Lois is in danger. And don't give me that he was following the beacon crap, because if he was really interested in all this, he'd already be there.
You don't think that he would have known where Lois was, that he'd be paying attention to her? He's his girlfriend, so obviously he would know where she was going. He just probably realized that she was in trouble.
The world has been so caught up with what Superman can do that no one has asked what he should do.
This is a direct ripoff of Jeff Goldblum's Jurassic Park quote, and the writer should be it.
So, we're questioning, you know, it's Superman with these godlike powers, what he should do with them. And that's apparently a bad thing now.
Shamed. If I had a nickel for every time I fingered a bullet while naked. We'll just assume Clark took his phone out of his pocket before this, because otherwise Superman is addicted to smartphones.
Anything else? I don't understand.
Even in a different language, the pronoun game never ceases to hilariously confuse. I mean, how do you build this luxurious bachelor pad without skilled contractors who you then either need to pay off or kill? My biggest issue with any Batman story, actually. Someone explain to me how Alfred and Bruce alone designed and built this shit, please.
Well, considering how we later in the movie see Bruce and Batman fucking building this shit.
Funnel Fairy Butter Bar, Funnel Fairy Butter Bar.
Funnel Fairy Butter Bar must be the English equivalent of sibilance. Feels like Bruce would have been wise to Superman and his secret identity long ago, being the best detective in the world and all, but this movie would have you believe that Wayne really only got interested in this guy after he helped destroy a whole city.
It's funny because it's literally shown throughout the movie that he's not in his right mind. He's being pushed by Lex to do this. He's so filled with rage, he's blinded by rage, that Lex Luthor is able to take advantage of him. I do believe that Lex Luthor knew that Superman, or Batman, his family had died, and he uses that against him to fuel his rage and his hate, and it blinds him.
Maybe these eggs would be in better shape, but holy shit, do you have a wall of wrenches and tools just off the kitchen and behind the TV and next to your upside-down bike? Jesus, are you Matthew McConaughey?
The first victim, an accused child predator, later was assaulted in prison. Many believe the mark of the bat brand in prison, essentially, is a death sentence.
What a bunch of bullshit. Someone can make that observation after that huge sample size of one person got beat up in prison? And don't child molesters usually get beaten in jail anyway? I smell manufactured tension. Welcome to LexCorp, which apparently rebuilt Metropolis in 18 months, based on tons of money, hard work, and either the dragon tears of unicorn angels or the aliens from Jupiter ascending. Nerdy Lex is introduced, being nerdy on the basketball court, yet still nailing a three-pointer like Steph Curry. I hate this fucker already. Finally, a movie puts so many newspaper headlines and stories in one shot, and with such tiny print, I don't care to actually go digging for mistakes. Touché, movie. I'm glad this guy helpfully underlined and boxed mentions of Superman on these newspaper headlines, or else he might have gotten them confused with articles about Captain America or Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson. Superman's statue does not depict Superman twisting Zod's neck, but I guess that's kind of hard to carve in rock.
Ken, your sports today.
Or maybe they realized that Superman was actually trying to save a family, and that the only action was to fucking kill the dude since he wasn't gonna stop. But I don't expect you to actually fucking address that, huh?
Because newspaper writers play musical chairs with the kinds of stories they write on a daily basis.
Headline: End of love affair with man in the sky.
Perry White's editorial style is to literally dictate headlines to his writers and ask them to write stories that match. You know, I like Jesse Eisenberg, but this Lex Luthor is too Jesse Eisenberg. Is that a kryptonite scalpel?
It's ironic considering that this version of Lex is very similar to, say, Zuckerman, who is extremely powerful and uses his, his social platform to benefit him. So it's not exactly far-fetched. And even like Man of Steel, they admit that they wanted in the book with talking about behind the scenes with BvS, they're talking about how they wanted a more like modern version, I guess, of Lex, where he's like this rich millennial.
How does Lex know he needs a fingerprint? Who the f knows? He just knows.
You don't think he wouldn't know?
Mm. 9.5 weeks. Looks like basically everyone has been breaking Fight Club's first two rules.
Crime wave in Gotham. Other breaking news. Water. Wet.
Okay, Perry White is basically just a dick, dismissing a story about a vigilante in Gotham as completely unnewsworthy while asking for an update on a story about football.
What's funny, because with that line, it implies that Batman, there being crime in Gotham, it's normal. So Batman beating fucking criminals up, it's normal. So because he seems to think, he's more concerned with like football, instead of trying to take down Batman. It actually fucking makes perfect sense, especially when you consider real life, where people seem to care more about fucking football than, say, social issues.
Ball. Why can't both stories be interesting to the public?
I'm blocking the import license for your mineral.
Something
Not to mention that the fact that football, making the story with Bruce Wayne or Batman and how he's taking out criminals over football, which is a lot more comfortable. I can't help but think of the people who seem to give BvS shit because it's too scary or literally just makes him think too much. Whereas, they want these MCU movies that are, they're just fun movies. So to believe that in this universe, people would give more shit about football, which isn't as controversial. You don't really have to, a lot of emotions aren't involved. As opposed to, say, Batman fucking taking out vigilantes. It feels very realistic, to be honest.
Could have just called to tell you.
You can call me whatever you like. Take a bucket of piss and call it Granny's peach tea.
Aside from being a fantastically stupid line, it's made even worse by only being here to give us some kind of supposed payoff later at the hearing.
It's just funny since, I've seen far worse lines in the MCU. But she's literally just trying to be, I guess you can say she's just trying to, I won't say intimidate Lex Luthor with this line, but then he later turns it on her and uses it against her.
But most of all, what the f does that even mean? Are you the bucket of piss in this announcement?
Yeah, I mean, it doesn't take a fucking genius to understand what she's trying to say. he fucking says he's gonna use it for like deterrence, but she knows he's gonna use it for like something else, and so that's exactly what she's going for. He's saying that, well, this piss, Granny's lemonade, what is it? Whatever. It's literally supposed to imply she knows that he's gonna use this power for nefarious purposes. It doesn't take a genius to know this. And they're literally fucking trying to act stupid.
Also, surprisingly, Granny's Peach Tea was the only company that turned down the promotional tie-in with Batman v Superman. Oh, this is a dream. In any other movie, the slow motion would have served as a warning. Second dream sequence is necessary to show how f***ed up Bruce is, but including yet another jump scare is necessary to show what an asshole this movie is.
You know, with balls like yours, you belong in here.
That's racist.
Well, Bruce Wayne can't break into...
Balls like yours, you belong in here.
That's racist.
Does he literally just say that's racist every time there's a black character? Because that really does what it feels like, because there's fucking literally nothing racist about that scene.
Well, Bruce Wayne can't break into Lex Luthor's house.
Bruce Wayne won't have to. He's been invited.
How fortuitous, and not as exciting. A movie that
It's almost as if Lex Luthor is manipulating all this bullshit. And it really does show how incredibly fucking powerful and smart Lex Luthor is, because he's able to manipulate Batman.
would have been much better than this is given mere Easter egg treatment, because that's fun.
It's funny you should mention that, because the fact that we couldn't later have a movie with that, that if we later had a movie with that, he'd just bitch about it, because, we should have had the movie first before this. Instead of, building excitement for, what could have happened, what happened, I'm interested in learning more. Funny because, if it happened in MCU, they'd sit there and bitch incessantly about how, this is so amazing. They build up the universe, fucking 21 movies,
Who's that? Seriously? Clark Kent does not know who f***ing Bruce Wayne is? Get the f*** out of here. This room that no one should enter is easily accessible by simply pushing open the door.
I thought the bathroom was down here. I must have...
Bruce Wayne dares to try this, and...
Which is ironic considering how you don't know who Bruce Wayne is. There are plenty of millionaires or billionaires. I don't know who it was. Considering how Superman has constantly been shown to be more small town and stuff like that, it's not exactly surprising he wouldn't know who Bruce is.
And she pretends to believe it, and Bruce seems to think he got away with it, all of which is ridiculous. After following him and...
Except he later says that he's been found out, so he knows that she knows, which is why he wants to get out.
Checking on him and hearing his flimsy-ass excuse, this Luthor security chick leaves him alone in the computer room. What the f***?
I'm assuming she's probably gonna go get someone else, because you really think she can fucking deal with goddamn this dude.
I like how Clark heard Bruce's radio communications, but did nothing to investigate it. Superman is lazy.
Probably because he fucking doesn't want to bring attention to himself.
Bruce Wayne meets Clark Kent.
Lex Luthor knows why this would be a momentous occasion, but God help you if you want an explanation for why he knows what nobody else does.
Why he knows what nobody else does? Probably because he's fucking a genius. We later revealed in the movie just how calculating and smart he is.
Oh, wow, that is a good grip. You should not pick a fight with this person.
Again, I have no idea if it was the script, the director, or the actor who decided this character needed to be this far over the top, but it was a bad decision. Okay,
It's funny because it's later shown in the movie that he's kind of putting on this air to make himself look crazy. It's kind of a cover, and I don't think he'll even address it or acknowledge it, so yeah.
Took his thing and obviously wants him to know, because she hangs around to get caught staring at him right outside the door. But then she leaves without telling him anything. So what gives? This is whack-ass behavior. Superman Jesus.
90% of people...
Or maybe it's just implying that she's an important character in the movie, and they're just conveying that to the audience. And you are gonna assume that she also knows. I don't know if she knows he's Batman, but she knows that he's important.
Believe in a higher power. And
I'm gonna need a source on that statistic, dude. This is whack-ass behavior. Superman Jesus.
90% of people believe in a higher power. And
I'm gonna need a...
He's gonna need a statistic when, there are a vast majority of people in the world are religious. Sure.
Source on that statistic, dude.
On this earth,
they're suddenly demanding sources.
Every act is a political act.
Even twerking? International blogger. Are there no journalists and experts left in this reality willing to go on cable news? Or is this the movie just giving the finger to the internet community that dislike Man of Steel?
Which is funny, because he later, they talked to Carl Sagan, or not Carl Sagan. That'd been awesome. Neil deGrasse Tyson, who was actually, an important member in science community. And I'm sure he won't address that.
I'm glad Superman saved these astronauts, but this scene is really pessimistic about the state of space travel and success.
No one likes living with a broken phone.
You broke your phone, so Verizon broke the rules. For the first time ever, new and current customers can trade in their old and damaged phones for up to $1,000 off our best 5G phones. Because at Verizon, the network is just the beginning.
Successful rocket launches, no? Using Neil deGrasse Tyson for your own personal projects. This family literally...
Yeah, they address it, but they don't actually address how they use actual scientists in this kind of debate. Not just YouTubers. Or bloggers, as he said.
To get to the roof with their bodies and some white paint. And that's it. No sandwiches or nothing. And while I'm not sure that one can of paint would be enough to paint this giant-ass Superman logo, I'm more concerned with the logic these people used.
The logic these people used. They see Superman as God. They know that Superman will save them. Or they believe Superman will save them. So, believing that they would go up to the fucking building with paint to paint like a Superman symbol, hoping and praying that Superman will save them is far-fetched.
Hey, there's a flood. Everyone get to the roof and someone grab some paint so we can make a giant Superman logo on the roof that if he somehow happens to be in the area saving lives, he won't miss. Again, another instance of a cool storyboard trumping logic in a Snyder film.
Which is funny because we actually see Superman saving people, him being there for people, and yet they still complain.
Superman f***ing hovers for a few seconds, doubtless confused by the huge white logo.
Once again, this is in slow-mo, so they're literally bitching because they slowed down this scene when in reality it would have been happening faster. So he's not just, surveying it and shit like that.
Actually saving these poor assholes. This guy who just got thrown in jail for defacing the Superman statue and making terrorist threats gets to have a meeting with the senator instantly.
It's almost as if Lex Luthor is having a hand in this bullshit, which I'm sure he won't fucking mention.
Without any security.
This copy all right. Nothing about football.
Even though it is ridiculous Clark was told to write about football, and he's doing the right thing by writing about the Gotham Bat, this should have gotten him fired.
Nobody cares about Clark Kent taking on the Batman.
He's right, they care about Superman taking on the Batman, of which this movie titled Batman v Superman has very little.
Is it still engaged? Which is funny, since Civil War has very little, build up and shit like that, and yet he doesn't complain about that. At least this makes perfect sense in the context of the story they're writing. Batman hating Superman and fearing Superman, and he would go up against him. At least it's natural build up as opposed to Civil War, which, a lot of the shit that happens in Civil War is just, it explains, it's put into that movie instead of being built up over multiple movies. So, it's just, they're trying to shove a Civil War movie into this one movie, so.
If you steal from another thief?
Yes.
Which is why this one is far better, because at least it actually develops it and builds it up, unlike Civil War, which just throws everything into this movie, even if it's rushed.
Bruce Wayne's decryption software moves at the same pace as my YouTube uploads. Luckily, this decryption will last just long enough for a wholly fucking unnecessary third 4-minute Batman dream sequence.
It's just funny, since dreams usually take very short amount of time. I don't remember how it was, but you can, I believe dreams take a very short amount of time. So this 4-minute sequence within the span of the amount of time it takes for the decryption, takes for it to decrypt is not that far-fetched.
Guy with a gun has a clear shot at Batman here, but decides instead to run up to Batman to shake his hand, I guess? Just to clarify, Batman is knocked unconscious during his own dream. And when he wakes up from that dream, he's going to have another cryptic dream about a visitor from an unknown future. Movie is seriously trying to outdream Inception.
Or he, wakes up from the dream and then experiences a vision and then wakes up, jerks awake.
I'd just like to know how Bruce is hallucinating the Flash right now, giving him important information and advertising the standalone movie all at once. Does Bruce have soothsaying powers? Bruce's nightmares lasted exactly as long as his computer's decryption process.
Grayson, if we believe there's even a 1% chance that he is our enemy, we have to take it as an absolute certainty.
Math is not one of Bruce's strong suits.
Where does he go?
Which is ironic, because I'm pretty sure that was a quote from Bush when he went to war after 9/11. So it's literally just, showing the mentality of pretty much xenophobia in this, at least with Bruce.
Why do you continue to employ him? Batman harpoons this car, which he will drag around for a little while until knowing exactly how to unhook it, so that it will land on another car hiding behind a trailer. Something he definitely knew was going to happen when he harpooned the car in the first place. Superman, who definitely knew some shit was going down here tonight, didn't bother to simply talk to Batman before all this started. Essentially, you're telling me he's omniscient enough to be here.
Which is funny because it's also explained because he tries to go the newspaper route by writing these articles where he tries to bring awareness to Batman's actions, but that doesn't work, as obvious by Perry Mason's refusal to actually allow him to write these stories, so he goes the Superman route. Not only that, we get Lex Luthor sending Superman these newspaper clippings, so he's pretty much just pushing Clark, baiting Clark into finally confronting Batman. And I can't wait for him to mention that, well, Batman doesn't take him out the first time, he warns him. But then if he had actually taken out Batman, he would have bitched about it. Be right back.
He's omniscient enough to save a rocket from an explosion, for Christ's sake, but decided to enter the scene at this very moment because it's better for the drama. Also, why not do this out of the gate, instead of spending weeks or months investigative journalisming Batman as Clark?
So, they actually tried to take Batman down, or Bruce Wayne down, as Clark Kent. But when that doesn't work, he finally confronts Mr. Superman, and yet they're complaining.
Cut. It takes an hour and 4 minutes for Batman to v Superman, in a much more realistic feeling.
It's almost as if they built up to it, as if this was a last resort, as opposed to, oh, Superman and Batman, well, yeah, like acting like they're just fucking co-workers who are having a squabble, as opposed to the serious life and death consequences. Which is funny because he bitches about Batman or Superman snapping Zod's neck, yet we see him try to try to do every fucking thing as opposed to doing everything other than actually physical violence to take down Batman, who he believes is, wrong.
Movie, this Batcave entrance will somehow top Burton and Schumacher for silliness.
How do we determine what's good?
A question the makers of this movie clearly never asked themselves. Superman visits Kansas at the perfect time the world's planetarium is open.
Somebody wanted Superman to look guilty.
I'm still not sure how blowing away a whole bunch of dudes with special bullets is supposed to implicate Superman.
It's not. It's the fucking roasting them to make it look like they Superman heat visioned them. That makes it look like he used fucking his powers against him, that he's going rogue. That and the witness that they intimidate into lying about what Superman did to get people, public opinion, to turn against Superman. They talk about how lame Lex is in this movie, and yet he's the most, manipulative person in this movie.
This whole story reeks of bullshit.
But how could they know that he'd show up in the middle of the desert?
Lois asks a very good question that is never answered. In fact, the only thing she's concerned about in this revelation is
they know that she's going to show up in the middle of the desert because he's there, or she's there. So obviously Lex knows who he is, so he knows that wherever Lois is, that Superman will follow. So they know to go, wherever Lois is, or they probably even set this up.
That Superman is going to show up at the Capitol building, and she suspects something's about to go down. But the how does Superman know to show up in the right place question is better left answered by other movies in the Justice League franchise once the screenwriters come up with a good enough excuse.
Which is funny, since that's exactly what they do with the MCU. They literally just fucking bullshit throughout the entire goddamn universe. They just write shit, and then they'll later answer it in the movies if they feel like, they feel up to it. Yet they never mention that again, I don't believe.
How did he know when she'd spot the label on her glass to be able to time this bomb blast? It's not that Superman is angry, it's just that he's disappointed. Movie skips over what would have been a much more entertaining Batman breaks into LexCorp scene to give us Superman walking through the Capitol into a courtroom. How does Lex know there's a pool of water ooze on this ship? Into a courtroom.
Yeah, what's funny is that he literally talks about how, they skipped this scene with Superman or Batman fighting at people to show us the scene with Batman walking to the courtroom. Except that shows us that Superman is willing to abide by, human laws. He's trying to show humans that he is in fact not bad. And yet this guy talks about how, that's lame. They're literally fucking building this up, and they're showing us Superman, who is really just trying to be good, and he's trying to, show how he's willing to abide by human laws, even though he doesn't have to, and yet this person is complaining. It's like they don't actually think about it, and if they do, they just ignore it. But the fact that they continue to act like this movie is shit, it really does feel like, everything wrong with this series just goes by public opinion, or just a few fucking asshats on Twitter or social media who complain about the movie, supposed to actually thinking for themselves.
Movie skips over what would have been a much more entertaining Batman breaks into LexCorp scene to give us Superman walking through the Capitol into a courtroom. How does Lex know there's a pool of water ooze on this ship? And how does he know standing in it not only won't kill him, it'll do something amazing to the body of Zod? Lex is omniscient enough that I wonder why he struggles against Superman and Batman at all.
Struggles against Superman and Batman. This entire fucking movie has been him manipulating them into doing what he wants them to do.
Well, actually, even though he got in the front door using Zod's fingerprints, Lex only has to press his own palm on the receiver to get the ship to respond. It's telling that Bruce's CrossFit routine is the fourth most enjoyable part of this movie. Bruce is a dick to weights.
Alexander Luthor, your security override has been accepted.
But why? I feel like this movie has skipped over some integral parts of storytelling here. Just accept this, just accept that. You came here to make Doomsday?
Yeah. You ever think that maybe because he was able to gain access through with fucking what's his face? He was able to gain access with Zod's fingerprints. How did the ship know that that was in fact Zod? And not, Lex Luthor? How do they know that this isn't Zod? So everything that he does, they believe he's Zod because he has his fingerprints.
Hey, fine, we'll help you do that. This water-based Kryptonian f***ing Star Trek replicator of all knowledge and science? Yeah, f*** it. F*** it hard. I really hate it, and it's stupid that it exists, and even stupider that Luthor figures it all out. F***ing f*** it.
Yeah, he talks about, I hate Luthor figures it out. The fact that the supervillain, it just shows how incredibly fucking smart he is and how dangerous he is, and yet he's complaining about it. And it certainly does explain why Superman and Batman would fight, because this guy was able to manipulate them. It just shows how dangerous he is. So in later, Justice League, when he finally teams with Deathstroke and he reveals Batman's identity, we see that this is going to be some fucking bad. This is bad. It's interesting because they just keep complaining because it seems that they don't like that the villain is actually fucking competent, I guess.
So, with a little bit of Luthor's blood mixed with Zod's dead body and some sort of DNA pool of justice, Lex will be able to make a monster out of it. Who knew that a spaceship had this kind of ability?
Why wouldn't it? It's literally a Kryptonian ship. It would have the knowledge of how to create this abomination. Not to mention all the other things that the ship does, and seems to be the far-fetched one, I guess. Especially considering how, like a Man of Steel, it had contained all the suits for Superman. It contained,
Why would a spaceship have this kind of ability? This set of Superman movies is obsessed with dead fathers giving Clark advice.
I miss you, son.
It's as if Clark's father, Jonathan, is an integral part of his character, and it's an integral part of his, you'd say, morality. Whenever he struggles, he ultimately goes back to his father and what he taught him, which, it really just shows us, especially in like Justice League, it showed us how critical it was for Jonathan to teach him morality and to use his powers responsibly.
No, you don't. You're dead. Why doesn't Superman have the same in-trouble radar for his mom that he seems to have for Lois? Yeah, I'll set my bat booby trap right...
Probably because his mom isn't going into dangerous situations like Lois, who is, a reporter. It's sometimes going into dangerous situations. You hear all the time there are reporters that go into these countries where there are wars and shit like that, and they end up dying. Why would he be more concerned with his mother, who is a waitress, than Lois, who will go in, as a reporter that sometimes goes into these dangerous situations?
Right here, blocks if not miles from the start of my fight with Superman, because I know for a fact I can direct the fight back to this spot for a whammy. Ladies and gentlemen, Gotham and Metropolis are a mile apart. You're welcome. Also, it is just across the bay, but while Gotham is having torrential rain and storms, the weather in Metropolis is just fucking peachy.
I think it's hysterical that they're complaining about Gotham and Metropolis being next to each other. No doubt using comics. And yet all the fucking shit that they change from, like, say, the MCU from the comics. And this is what they want to bitch about. At least it's actually stated in the movie that they're next to each other, which isn't, that doesn't make the movie bad just because you don't like it.
Lois in danger in the Middle East? Or later in this climax when trapped in a box? Superman hears it above all the noise of the world. Lois is kidnapped, Superman hears nothing.
Euclid's triangle inequality, the shortest distance between any 2 points.
Have I mentioned how much I hate...
Once again, do you ever think that maybe Superman just doesn't know that Lois would be in this dangerous situation? He knows she's in the city, whereas he probably knew, she probably told him that she was going to this country with this dangerous tyrant. So he probably was keeping an eye out for her.
This version of Lex Luthor, because I do. Spewing random does not equal menacing. Also, FYI, we are right at the start of the film's climax with still an hour left to go.
So he talks about whining about, spewing random shit. No, it tells us the mentality of Lex. It also shows us why exactly he's doing what he's doing. He's talking about gods and how there was no one there to save him when he was, being abused by his father. So this explains the hate for Superman.
Oh look, he can hear her falling, but he couldn't hear her being kidnapped the last 30 minutes of her life. What a selective power. Superman just leaves Lois here.
What we call God depends upon our tribe, Clark Joe.
Superman lets Lex talk long enough for Lex to reveal he's got Clark's mom, instead of just obliterating him instantly, as he should have and would have really done.
He bitches about Superman snapping Zod's neck, and yet when he fucking goes up against Lex, he bitches because Superman doesn't actually fucking kill Lex right off. What the fuck do you want? Seriously. And this isn't just him. It's the mentality of all these dumbasses who hate, Zack Snyder's, all his movies. That's literally it. They fucking say one thing and then they fucking, when that happens, they just get pissed and say the other thing.
God versus man.
Oh, come on.
Martha, Martha, Martha.
Do I consider this Martha foreshadowing, considering what comes later? Brady Bunch foreshadowing? Really? Also, Lex goes to the trouble to make individual Polaroids.
So he actually acknowledges that it's foreshadowing, and yet he acts so, he's gonna act so surprised when it happens later in the movie where it finally gets the payoff. So it's not like he didn't realize that it was coming. He just wants to bitch about it.
It's because scrolling through pictures on his phone would take too long.
Mercy!
Don't you know? I mean, you seem to find Lois no problem. Do you only have a homing beacon on her? LexCorp knew to make these files almost like teaser trailers. It's amazing their marketing department. Looks like Miles Dyson still hasn't learned his lesson about not creating Terminators, even after he died in the second movie.
And forget the heliport. Put it on the goddamn roof.
Okay, even though it's weird that the helipad isn't already on the roof, what difference would it make?
Here I am.
Let's talk about Batman's plan. Sure, Superman told him,
next time they shine your light in the sky, don't go to it.
There are numerous problems with this, though. First off, did Bruce forget that Superman was in hiding after the Capitol building bombing? Did he really think their petty squabble was going to lure him?
He wasn't in hiding. He just went and fucking left because he's feeling, he felt like it was his fault. He didn't go to hide. He just went, he obviously went to Lois, and talked to her about it. So he wasn't fucking hiding.
Out. Second off, this plan wasn't even going to work until Lex kidnapped Martha and told Superman to go fight Batman. There's an alternate history of the movie where Batman
didn't know shit about Lex Luthor. Once again, this is Lex Luthor's plan. Lex Luthor is golding Superman into fighting Bruce or Batman. Oh god, this fucking video is exhausting. So yeah, Batman doesn't know about Lex Luthor. He doesn't know that Lex is manipulating him. It isn't until Bruce tells him he doesn't believe him, or Clark tells him he doesn't believe him until, you know, that moment with Martha.
Man lies in wait for Superman and he never shows up. Like that date I had in college, and we had plans, Melissa!
Bruce!
When did these assholes learn each other's secret identity?
She literally sees Superman hearing fucking Bruce Wayne talk to, what's his face, Alfred, on, you know, the comms, and yet you fucking say, oh, how did they learn each other's identity? And you don't think Batman, fucking Batman, wouldn't realize that Superman was fucking, Clark Kent? Especially when they get to, you know, face to face. Not to mention, I'm sure there are actual files that Lex Luthor had about Batman or Superman when he has files on all the other Justice League members.
Was it at the party? Did they just assume? But here's the rub. Lex Luthor also has to know that both Superman and Batman know each other's secret identities for his plan to work. If Lex tells Superman to kill Batman, and if Batman isn't lying in wait for Superman at this moment, then Superman has to find Bruce Wayne, and that's if he knows Batman is Bruce. That's a lot of ifs.
He's fucking golding them into fighting, so he knows that by golding Batman with, you know, the whole Superman, you know, is killing people, that he will push Superman to fight him. He also is gonna fucking... Oh god, this movie. Look at this video. They don't need for them to have, you know their secret identity. She just needs Superman to know about the identities. He's blackmailing Superman with Martha's, you know, life to face Batman. He's assuming, well, he's not assuming, he wants Batman to kill Superman, but in case Batman or Superman kills Batman, he creates Doomsday as a way to fight and kill Superman. So this is just, you know, another fucking, you know, just another possibility, I guess you could say, with Superman and Batman fighting. If this doesn't work, then he's gonna, you know, make sure that there's a backup plan. And I like how he talks about, oh, there are too many ifs. There's so many ifs, as if, you know, fucking bullshit in goddamn the MCU. If there's an if every goddamn scene.
You don't understand.
You will find that Superman will waste a lot of time with the listen to me's and you don't understands instead of just saying what the problem is. Not sure what these machine guns were supposed to do, but wow.
They were supposed to lull him into a false insecurity so that when he used the kryptonite grenades, it would surprise Superman. Easy peasy if you actually fucking think about it.
Shiny excitement. Oh good, more of this kryptonite, the unfortunate repetitive writer's crutch that plagues nearly all Superman movies. How much does this miss diminish Superman's powers?
So you're really gonna bitch about kryptonite? Right? Really? God, I just can't with this goddamn video.
We have no idea and are never told, though it's safe to assume it's enough to make a Batman-Superman fight viable, which I would think would mean a lot.
It just shows that if Batman, you know, given enough time, he can fucking take out Superman. Because we show how he's fucking a he's a strategist. He will find any weakness of yours and, you know, utilize it.
If he's this debilitated by the kryptonite gas, just kill his ass right now. What are you waiting for? Oh yeah, that kryptonite gas, it wears off apparently, even though it's completely inside Superman's...
Yeah, except it doesn't wear off. It just makes him weaker. So, despite the fact that he's actually, able to take down Superman, you can see that he's slowly becoming weaker and weaker, which would probably explain why Doomsday would eventually be able to defeat him.
But even though it wore off, Batman can stop Superman? I'm confused. The Wayne, in pain, chooses mainly to complain. Oh look, Batman was totally able to lead the battle to this spot, even though that's goddamn impossible. It might be the stupidest thing in this movie.
It's stupid? He's literally fucking dragging him, throwing him down, dragging him all the way to that spot. Why does it fucking take a goddamn... It doesn't take a goddamn genius to see this. Yeah, these people bitch about it. I mean, it's obviously only watched it once, but I don't think they actually give a damn. They're just complaining to complain.
Saying.
They don't give this much shit to, like, Civil War and all the MCU movies. They don't have this much hate for it, despite the fact that they're fucking riddled full of fucking holes.
Something.
You're letting him kill Martha!
God damn it. First off, who calls their mother by their real name in this situation? This is
Let's see. One, he no doubt knows fucking who Bruce is, seeing as how he actually talked. If I recall correctly, I'm pretty sure Alfred actually refers to him by name, so he knows exactly who Bruce Wayne is, so he would probably most likely have fucking researched him. One. He also, Batman talked about how he was, Batman talked about how Clark wasn't human, how his parents thought that, taught him that, you mean something and shit like that, but, his parents taught him dying for fucking, dying in the gutter for no reason at all. So it's literally leading up to this.
maybe the biggest scene in the whole movie. Second off, god damn it, because Clark and Bruce both have mothers named Martha, Batman decides to let Superman live. And
they let Superman live. You literally fucking gave a sin for Bruce screaming as his fucking parents were murdered and seeing Bruce's father die, saying his mother's name, and this is only just lets him live because it said his mother. No, he's reliving a traumatic moment in his fucking childhood. That would completely snap him out of this, murderous rage. The reason why he hates Superman and wants to kill him is because he sees him as his alien. He doesn't want the same thing to happen to his parents. He doesn't want the same thing to happen to, humanity that happened to his parents. And by realizing that Superman is human, that he's going to become the exact same thing that killed his parents, it stops him. It gives him pause, which allows Lois Lane to come in and explain to him. Makes him realize that, he was right. Lex Luthor has been manipulating this whole thing. He finally believes Superman.
And a third, Martha is a common name. Martha is a common name. You're telling me that at the mere mention of Martha, Batman gets all sentimental?
Funny you just mentioned that Martha is a common name. Yeah, which explains why their fucking mother's name would be Martha. So that whole bullshit about, it's a good thing that his mother's name was Martha. That's not a coincidence. It's actually pretty fucking believable considering that they were, well, one, obviously, their parents would have been about the same age, if I recall correctly from the comics. Also, just from the comics alone, I believe that Batman was influenced by Superman when they named his mother. So, once again, not surprising.
Martha Farkers! Yeah, we know. We heard Thomas the Comedian Wayne say Martha out loud earlier in the movie. We saw the earlier dream sequence, this movie's 17th such occurrence, where it showed Martha Wayne's tombstone. We know his mother's name is Martha. Get on with it. Just in case this movie isn't long enough for you, we got a recap of the first 5 minutes.
What?
So, he actually acknowledged that, you know, previous scenes in the movie leads up to this moment and explains it, and it isn't an actual surprise, and they just don't give a shit. So really, it seems like it's because it didn't turn out the way they wanted to that it's fucking bad. So pretty much what I've always fucking suspected about anybody who bitches about BvS. It's not that it's a bad movie, it's just that the movie isn't what they wanted.
You should say that name!
Exactly.
It's his mother's name!
It took Lois Lane to fly here in a helicopter for some reason to finally tell him that.
Yeah, it's almost as if Lois Lane, realizing that this fucking, you know, shit happening, she would fucking go to Superman. And the amount of time it took for her to fucking go to Superman, and her arriving in time for her to save Superman from Bruce, it's not that big of a coincidence. She, as we've seen in the very beginning, the opening scenes, she'll go into dangerous situations all the time. So her going into this situation as well isn't that far-fetched.
Really, that's Lois's only function for flying out here is for stupid like this. But don't worry, it gets stupider.
No, the reason she flies out is because it's Lois Lane. She's gonna go to fucking Superman because she cares about him. Yeah, it's funny because I can't remember. He talked about what some characters having their thumb up their ass while shit was happening, but Lois, who would actually fucking go to where Superman is to try to possibly help out. Suddenly, you know, that's a bad thing.
He wanted your life for hers.
Now that they fought, Superman suddenly comes up with the words he could have easily said before all the fighting started.
Yeah, it's almost as if, say, Martha, he knew that that would snap Bruce out of it, that would affect Bruce. Whereas saying, oh, save my mother, and shit like that. Because he's already been talking about how, you know, Bruce the entire time was talking about how, you know, going on about how Superman wasn't human. He kept trying to say that Lex Luthor was manipulating them, but Bruce wouldn't listen. Now that Bruce is finally fucking listening, he's talking about how, you know, save Martha and shit like that.
Hot damn, this is f***ing Batman. I'm removing 3 sins for this movie understanding Batman action better than any previous, even though that's not nearly close enough to save this film's final sin total.
Oh, fuck
I'm a
off.
friend of your son's.
I figured. The cape?
This is the only moment of levity in the entire film, and that makes it worth a sin of omission. A character I respect suddenly turns...
Fuck off. Apparently, you know, if a film doesn't have a fucking levity, then that's, you know, makes it bad. How many movies have no fucking humor in it at all, or Dark as Shit was also fucking a good movie?
stupid and throws this crypto spear into this water, thinking that over time no one will ever find it, and so that the movie will have an X.
Or maybe she's just trying to get away from Superman because she knows that this will affect Superman. Because she sees fucking the spear, you know, cut Superman. So she's just trying to get away from Superman, as far away from Superman as she can. Because she'd want to try to do something during this entire fucking fight scene. You know, what would Lois do? She doesn't have these superpowers. So she decides to try to get rid of the only weapon that could hurt her love of her life. Not knowing that Doomsday is going to show up later. So why wouldn't she?
Once Doomsday shows up.
The devil will do it.
This is some convenient-ass timing here. He just found out his original plan failed, but his backup plan...
Except he doesn't find out that it failed. He was in the process of creating him in the first place. So, this was just a backup plan. That also shows kind of how, I believe, it's kind of arrogant. I believe that Lex thought he would be able to control Doomsday, so he created Doomsday in the off chance that, you know, Batman didn't kill Superman. So this isn't, oh well, you know, he planned, you know, he just realized that Bruce won, so he was able to quickly create Doomsday. No, this was his backup plan.
And is literally 3 seconds from powering up.
The blood of my blood.
Superman just stands around while he waits for Luthor to do the next thing, instead of throwing him around the world 50 times. Or
Once again, it's interesting how they bitch because he doesn't fucking immediately kill Lex, but then will fucking make a joke about snapping Zod's neck, implying that, well, they didn't like that. So what the fuck did you want?
just taking him to jail.
Born to destroy you.
But how? You just cut yourself and put Zod's body in...
Taking him to jail. He's not doing shit. He can easily just fucking pick him up, so why does he need to be in a hurry?
Oh, what the f*** do I care? Let's just get this over with already. Oh good, more of this
Thankfully, the work...
More of this shit, so what? You know, Doomsday punching Superman into buildings? I love how he thinks that Superman fighting villains automatically means that there aren't going to be any casualties.
Day is over and the downtown core, it's nearly empty.
bullshit. It's funny how this movie in Civil War suddenly started caring about all the destruction their heroes were causing, and then started making absolutely sure, even though it's impossible, that no one or hardly anyone is in the area. Wonder...
It's funny because this is a sequel to Man of Steel, where we see the destruction that Man of Steel, you know, Superman and Zod caused in Man of Steel. And this is a movie that addresses it. Whereas Civil War, it took how many movies? I think he said 13. 13 movies for them to finally address the casualties. And yet this fucker, he gives more shit to this movie than he does Civil War. You gotta wonder why that is. I think I know why.
Woman is getting on a plane and sees the super fight on the news, but no airplane I've ever been on gave me live television on the monitors prior to takeoff, so this is some bullshit. And this doesn't even look like first class.
Strikers Island, east of Metropolis.
That's uninhabited.
Of course it is.
I'm saying
Of course it is.
it's unkillable.
You know, it's like, I have no doubt you bitched about Man of Steel, where you fucking said, oh my god, why are they fucking fighting in the city? Because, you know, people are gonna die. Why don't they just go out of Smallville, even though fucking Zod was trying to kill as many people as possible. But now that they're actually going to uninhabited island, you fuckers complain. You know, it's not like fucking Warner Brothers forced him to do this because of the bitching about, you know, what happened in Man of Steel from the shitty ass fucking bloggers, as you like to say.
And I know that because I'm sitting in an office and we've tried one thing to kill it.
I gotta get it to chase me back to...
The one thing, if I recall correctly, was nuclear bomb. What else do you fucking try?
Back to the kryptonite.
Or you could just fly there, get it, and fly back. Either way, really. But go ahead with your he has to chase me plan. I sure am glad they rebuilt Metropolis, so that Doomsday can destroy Metropolis. Who knew? Wonder Woman's...
Yeah, it's almost like they didn't realize that Doomsday was ever gonna fucking appear.
bracelets can stop all the Doomsday Kryptonian laser beams in the world.
It's interesting how he fucking...
Even when the total area of said lasers eclipses the area of said bracelets. Also, Wonder Woman Ex Machina. She just got off the plane, was able to dress up, get to the scene, and know exactly what to do just in time.
It's almost as if she's a fucking, as we later learn, demigod. Who, one, is pretty sure can fly in this universe. So she can fucking fly there. Not to mention she has these fucking bracelets that they aren't fucking, they're not powerful in themselves. They just are able, I believe, allow her to focus her power.
Also, the fight Wonder Woman saw was happening in Metropolis, and this is now happening in Gotham, so f*** you, movie. Even though Lois has no idea who Doomsday is or what he does, she gets the bright idea that maybe they need that crypto spear after all.
Or maybe she realizes that it can hurt Superman, so maybe it can hurt fucking Doomsday. It's really just trying to fucking do whatever the fuck you can to you know, help out.
Why did you bring him back to the city?
The port is abandoned.
Yeah, everywhere is abandoned, we get it.
She with you?
I thought she was with you.
Really, Bruce? You've seen her and interacted with her a half dozen times at this point. What is this line except scripted hilarity that doesn't square with the script?
Except that he obviously knows that she's a demigod, so he would fucking no doubt believe that she was with Superman because he's also, or a metahuman. He's also a metahuman. So it's not too far-fetched to believe that they would know each other.
And despite numerous heavy pieces of architecture falling down in this pool with Lois, she survives this. It's actually hard to believe, after seeing Wonder Woman's shield and bracelets perform miracles, that she doesn't have a weapon that can just end this fool.
Yeah, and if you actually fucking ended him, you just bitch about how overpowered she is.
This movie. Superman can't just javelin.
Oh no, because he can't fucking hear fucking pounding, right? In the middle of a fucking goddamn fight. Realize it's Lois since he knows that she's fucking around. You do realize that he knows that she's there, right? They're in the same exact place as they were before.
This thing into Doomsday's heart. He has to crash into him to do it, so that the movie can have its fake death scene. Oh no, Superman is dead.
Scene.
How am I gonna last until the next movie when they revive him and move on? Could this pop?
Oh, fuck off, you piece of shit. Did you know that they were gonna bring him back in the next movie? Or are you just fucking bitching about it, you know? Oh, that's right. I'm pretty sure you knew from the comics. Not this movie, of course, but of course you're gonna, you know, say, oh, well, this isn't, you know, his death isn't impactful because he appears in the next, he's resurrected.
Possibly be the most insulting part of the movie? The guy who looks like Superman with glasses died on the same night as Superman and still no connection? Can we even get a Steve Buscemi scene where he's living in an apartment surrounded by video screens, soda cans, and beef jerky where he makes the connection? I mean, Jesus.
I mean, it's not as stupid as fucking MCU where literally nobody wears fucking disguises and shit like that. And apparently, despite the fact that none of the people in the MCU wears disguises, pretty much nobody ever gets fucking, you know, none of the characters get literally attacked by villains because they know exactly, or their loved ones get attacked by villains because the villains know exactly who their loved ones are. Stupid as
It's
shit.
a movie funeral, so definitely add some bagpipes, because Superman was so Scottish and such.
Or, the bagpipes are typically used, if I recall correctly, with military funerals. And they've, as one woman says, they view him as a soldier. You know, they only know him as a soldier, which is why they use bagpipes.
I failed him in life.
Actually, you ended up not killing him like you had planned. Then, when you promised to save his...
Yeah, not killing him like he planned. He planned on fucking killing him. What the fuck is this?
Mom, you did that too, in spectacular fashion, so you're good here, bro.
We can do better. We will.
Just not with this movie. I guess either Batman got permission from the warden to do this electric light show and dramatic branding thing he's about to do, or he just knocked out the guards to...
He literally fucking says in Man of Steel, or the beginning of BvS, it's implied that people, that the police are working with Batman. So to believe that the prison guards are also working with Batman and that they would allow him to take Lex Luthor out to take him to Arkham Asylum is completely believable.
do it. Either way, this is some pretty unbelievable
He's hungry. He's found us.
Who the f... You know what? There's no way Lex had yet another monster in mind after making Doomsday.
I find it interesting how he continually bitches because they're literally hinting at another movie coming. And yeah, I have no doubt in Justice League, this next Justice League, he'll bitch about that. You know, the fact that it's like it's supposed to be a 5-movie arc. And yet, he continually complains about it.
Coming up with a plan to get Batman and Superman to fight. You know that last 10 minutes you just went through trying to make us think Superman was dead, especially when you're trying to set up a Justice League movie? Yeah, that was a total waste.
174 compared to, was it 124 from the Civil War? It's like it's complete bullshit. You know, it's just like they fucking bitch the entire movie about, oh, you know, this is ridiculous. No, they continually acknowledge in the movie that it made sense, that it's built up. They just didn't like it, so they'll fucking say, oh, you know, this is bad. I'm not dead. Yeah, that's my fucking review of this goddamn video. Bullshit. So, God, that was a long fucking video. God, the fact Justice League gonna be 4 fucking hours. This is gonna be like an entire night of just glorious bullshit with the, you know, this site. God, don't actually fucking watch this movie. They like watched it once and didn't use their brains. Oh yes, I can't wait. I know they did Sucker Punch, and I cannot wait for them to do Sucker Punch. They'll probably brand Zack as fucking sexist pig in it. Yeah, that was my... It's more of a rant about, you know, everything wrong with BvS. And of course, they have the Ultimate Edition. I might just wait for another night to do that because I'm frankly exhausted. So yeah, this is such bullshit. Anyways, if you like this video, give it a like. If you want me to go more on rants, I'll probably end up doing all the DCEU movies. That will be fun. And if you subscribe, you know, hit notifications to get notifications of all the different videos I'll be uploading. And that being said, you guys have a nice night. Stay safe out there, and I'll talk to you later.